Hi, in this tips and tricks video we're going to look at more movable chord fragment shapes, and for this one to make sense you will need to have seen tips and tricks numbers 5 and 6. This is a continuation of number 6, which showed us movable chord fragments in major chord shapes. Today we're going to look at minor chord shapes, and we'll also spend some time, of course, mixing the two, which we haven't done before. We'll mix major and minor within a single song. Let's cover the minor shapes first of all. Once again, there are 3 movable shapes that we can use. The A minor shape, there's a normal A minor chord, of course. Take the 4th string finger away because we're still going to use just the top 3 strings for this exercise. And because we're doing that, we might as well replace this finger, actually this finger, the index finger, with the middle finger. Now, that on the top 3 strings is A minor. But of course, you remember, if you've seen the major chord one, you'll know that if we bring that up 1 fret, we've got the problem of the trailing open string, and we solve that problem by fretting the trailing open string, so that where it's open here in the first position, if these 2 fingers come up 1 fret, the open string must come up 1 fret as well. So this becomes your A minor movable shape. If it's A minor here, then of course it's B flat minor here, and B minor, and C minor, and C sharp minor, and on we go. The next movable chord shape is the D minor shape. There's a good old shape that we're very familiar with in the first position. Here it's D minor. Bring it up 1 fret and it's E flat minor, and E minor, F minor, and on and on. These are all things that hopefully you know. I'm just giving you the names of the chords to save time here. And the third shape is what I think of as the E minor shape. Think of an E minor chord, and that the top 3 strings are all on open strings. Now that means that this is a movable shape. It's open strings here for an E minor chord, but if we fret those 3 strings at the first fret, we've immediately made a fragment of F minor, and F sharp minor, and G minor, and so on. So those are our 3 shapes. We've got the A minor shape, which moves up by adding the first string where the trailing open string is, you know, so we've got first string, second string, third string in like a little diagonal line. That's the A minor shape. We've got the D minor shape, which is a normal D minor chord moving around. And we've got the E minor shape, which is open strings on the top 3 strings, but we can just fret those 3 strings at each fret. Those are our 3 shapes. I'm not going to spend any more time explaining how that works, because if you've seen video number 6, you'll understand exactly how that's working. So let's get straight into the first example. I'm going to put on a jam track, and I'm going to play through this short jam track 3 times, 1 time each, using each of the 3 individual shapes. First one will be the A minor shape. There we had the A minor shape playing E minor at frets 7, 8 and 9, B minor at frets 2, 3 and 4, and A minor both in the first position, frets open first string 1 and 2, and then I also brought it up to the octave, frets 12, 13, 14. Now we'll play the same track, and we will use the D minor shape to move around the neck. That was the D minor shape, playing E minor at frets 3, 4 and 5, playing B minor at 10, 11 and 12, and A minor at 8, 9 and 10. Hopefully it all makes sense to you why those chords belong in those positions, and we will close out this little minor chord review with the E minor shape, which you remember is a half bar at every single fret. Now, of course, in the normal world, we would actually mix up those shapes. I won't go back through that track again and mix them up. But at the end of this video, I'll put this backing track, and indeed the next one that I'm about to move on to, as backing tracks for you to play around with. And you try and mix up those shapes as you improvise over this minor chord sequence. What we're going to do now to wrap up this video is we're going to mix up major and minor chords, and of course all the shapes. So we've now got 3 major chord shapes that we use, which are the A shape with the trailing open string moving up the neck, the D shape, and what I think of as the F shape, which you may think of as the E shape. They're the same thing. And in the minor chords now, we've got our A minor shape with the trailing first string moving behind it. We've got the D minor shape, and we've got the E minor shape moving around the neck. So we've got 6 shapes mixing major and minor chords. Most songs, of course, do mix major and minor chords, and for the first time, we're going to play now with all the chords, major and minor, and we're going to mix up the shapes. So see if you can follow along as I put together a little improvisation over this short little musical sequence. Now at this point, what you should be able to do is you should be able to use the 3 major chord fragments on the top 3 strings and the 3 minor chord fragments on the top 3 strings. You should be able to mix them up. You should be able to use them in combination so that a song that has a mixture of major and minor chords, which most of them do, will fall under your fingers. You can put a second guitar part down that utilizes those chord fragments over those chords. That's what you should be able to do. So any chord sequence that has major and minor chords in it, you should be able to improvise over the top of. The next tips and tricks video will get into 7th chords, major 7th chords and minor 7th chords as we expand our repertoire of chords into a slightly jazzier area. And we'll get into that in the next time, but to leave you something to practice with, I'm going to finish this video by playing the 2 tracks that I played over today as backing tracks, and you can practice your improvisation over first the minor chord sequence and then the mixed major and minor chord sequence, and I will see you next time.